Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, a new report looks at the impact of the state's flat tax on budget concerns, including university funding. Also tonight, a new survey looks at the issues that are driving older voters to the polls. And we'll hear about an effort to help formerly incarcerated women re-enter the community. The stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Busy times for national politics in Arizona. Vice presidential candidates Tim Walz and J.D. Vance are in the state today. Vance spoke in Tucson decrying FEMA's response to natural disasters. Walz appeared in Chandler decrying the politicization of disaster relief.
Under Kamala Harris's leadership, you've got FEMA, which is doing resettlement and relocation for illegal immigration. FEMA should take care of American citizens when a disaster strikes. That's all it should be doing.
Sometime this afternoon, Hurricane Milton's going to come ashore. And those are Americans. Those are our neighbors. Those are our family members. Those are our friends. And the commitment to stop the politicking and to unify, to be there, is absolutely critical.
Tomorrow night, Vice President Kamala Harris brings her presidential campaign to Phoenix for a scheduled rally. Time and location for the event at this point have not been announced. Also, First Lady Jill Biden is scheduled to be in Yuma on Friday and then Phoenix on Saturday. And former President Donald Trump's campaign has announced that Trump will hold a rally Sunday afternoon in Prescott Valley. Trump is set to speak at the Findlay Toyota Arena at 2 p.m. This will be Trump's fourth trip to the state this year. And right now, we are about an hour away from the lone U.S. Senate debate between Democratic Congressman Ruben Gallego and Republican Kari Lake. Both are vying for Kyrsten Sinema's Senate seat. Sinema, a Democrat turned independent, chose not to run for re-election. Other headlines: Hurricane Milton is forecast to slam into the west coast of Florida as a Category 3 storm any moment now. The outer edges of the hurricane have been battering areas south of Tampa throughout the day, with dangerous winds, heavy rains, and even tornadoes reported. Words of warning here from Mayor and Fire Chief of St. Petersburg.
This is an extremely dangerous threat to our area, and I urge you to finish all of your preparation efforts as soon as possible. We are expecting between 8 to 12 feet of storm surge and winds up to 100 miles per hour.
Those waters are dangerous. Those winds are dangerous. There's a potential for missiles. When the winds pick up, it is not safe to be outside right now. You should be in a structure that is able to withstand the storm and be hunkering down.
And video here of an apparent tornado blowing by a house in Fort Myers, which is south of Tampa, St. Pete. Dangerous conditions are expected in much of the state as the storm makes landfall. Indeed, residents on Florida's opposite coast along the Atlantic, they're being warned about possible damaging storm surges. New research from the Grand Canyon Institute shows the continued impact of Arizona's flat income tax. The research shows, among other things, that budget cuts in the last legislative session would have been unnecessary if the flat tax had not been in effect. Joining us now is Dave Wells, research director at the Grand Canyon Institute. Dave, good to see you here. Thanks for joining us. The flat tax, it's what, 2.5% for all concerned, correct?
That's right, yes.
And you looked at what exactly here? I know this study's been out for a little bit, and the most recent focus is on university funding. Give us the whole 9 yards.
Well, first of all, the flat tax is like the biggest secret in Arizona. I mean, I was talking to another reporter, not you, and I was telling him that the flat tax, costs $2 billion a year. And the reporter, it was background. The reporter said, "And that's over how many years?" I go, "That's every single year." So nobody really knows about it. It's the underlying thing. So it's a $2 billion cut that mostly went all to wealthy people. We estimate 70% of it went to people whose incomes exceed $200,000. And so we've called it pizzas versus Porsches in terms of what people get.
And the $2 billion annually, that's $2 billion that does not go to it stays in people's pockets, which is what supporters want, but it also does not go to the government as far as services are concerned. What does that mean as far as the budget?
That means what we have is a structural budget deficit. So, and that means like this last time we had to sort of balance 24 because they kept saying, oh my gosh, the revenues aren't coming in enough. They're not coming enough, and also make cuts in 25. So together, it was over $1 billion of cuts that had to be made, and that's essentially because of the flat tax that occurred, and we just don't have the ability to fund schools and universities the way that we normally would be if we didn't have the flat tax.
And before we get to universities and schools, how'd you get your numbers? How'd you work this out?
A lot of Excel stuff. But so back when they passed the flat tax, the flat tax was passed during Governor Ducey's administration and then was sort of rolled in. And at the time, normally you can't do a flat tax because what happens is a flat tax means you lower income taxes for wealthy people, and it means you usually have to raise income taxes for everybody else. But we had a large surplus at the time, largely due to COVID dollars and the housing market going crazy, as well as the stock market. And lawmakers didn't realize that's why they didn't have a permanent surplus. Anyway, that's why effectively it happened. And so we looked through the things that the JLBC and the Department of Revenue put together and have used that to basically estimate the impact across income levels.
So not a $2 billion cut initially, but a $2 billion cut now and into the foreseeable future?
It'll just keep getting bigger because, obviously with inflation and people's incomes going, the cost of it will continue to rise. Okay,
university funding, what's the impact there?
Well, it means that instead of wealthier people paying added taxes, the students at ASU are going to have to pay $350 more a semester, and that's so basically we're transferring costs because the state has systematically defunded universities. We did a paper back in 2012, and at that time we noted that in 2002 the state funded universities 40% more than prisons, and in 2012 it was 40% more for prisons than universities. And since then we've had additional relative cuts to universities, so it's gotten even worse.
We should mention ASU is also closing the Lake Havasu campus.
Yes.
And U of A's got problems even before this even starts.
Yeah, there's a real mess at U of A. I mean, they're still paying former President Robbins a very hefty salary, and a lot of the faculty there have serious workload issues, and their pay is really low. There's some really serious problems, and it's a combination of a lot of different factors at U of A.
As far as the Arizona Teachers Academy is concerned, that was a big deal, the idea of teaching, instructing and recruiting and retaining these teachers so that they would stay in the state and they would get this and the state would get that. Now that's all gone.
Well, or unless the university is going to fund it. So the way it worked was that they would add aid on top of whatever aid you had, so you were going to go tuition free. And now that's sort of the rug's been pulled under that. And we already know, we just had another survey out, that we have a teacher shortage, and trying to maintain the base of teachers so we can have a solid educational opportunity for our students in Arizona is undercut by these kinds of cuts by the legislature.
That was a guaranteed scholarship program, correct?
Yes, it was. And then in turn, then you have to teach in the K-12 system.
So universities would have to cover that. I mean, but that's something that could come back to the fore, I would think, as sessions go on.
Right, but except it's just going to be something that's on the line every
right.
time, potentially, depending on revenues.
University funding is on the line a lot because, correct me if I'm wrong, there really is no funding formula. There are funding formulas for other things, not university funding.
No, and if I was on ABOR, I think they should be suing the state because universities are supposed to be as close to free as possible according to our Constitution, and what the state has been doing is consistently defunding universities. So they've had to come up with different ways of raising revenue, like ASU uses ASU Online a lot to raise revenue. They make class sizes bigger. They do all kinds of other things, and I think that's a really a fundamental problem because there are formulas for K-12 education, and there's formulas for Medicaid, which are the two other bigger things in the budget.
Prisons as well? Does prisons?
Well, prisons are not a formula, but we haven't done comprehensive criminal justice reform. So, if you've
just keeps, yeah.
You have to, they're not willing to let folks out. Although this segment at the end of the show today might be really helpful to see that, because I think, that's a place in the long run we could actually save money, but it's a long run plan, not a short run one.
For those who say that, and there are a lot of folks who say this, and the argument can be made that, again, the flat tax puts money back into households, back into individuals for them to spend as they choose, let the economy roar as it chooses, and then everything else rises with it. What's wrong with that argument? Is there anything wrong with that argument?
a lot wrong. It puts money in the wrong pockets. The people who most need the pockets are, lower income people who are struggling to pay rent, make a down payment on a house. And this is putting money in the people who own 2 or 3 or 4 houses, or really big houses, the ones that you hear about on Arizona Republic and so forth. And those are not the people who need added money. The people who need money are people with kids and people who are struggling to make ends meet. I know a family that's disabled. They've been living out of their car, and we're trying to find a way to get them into housing. Those folks are the folks who need the assistance, and the state's been put in a position where they can't really help those folks because they've given the money to folks in Paradise Valley.
Dave Wells, Research Director, Grand Canyon Institute. It's good to have you here. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Always glad to join you.
While getting out in nature can be enjoyable on its own, there's no better way to enjoy the outside than with your family. Today I get to explore the world with my 7-year-old daughter in Pine Top. Then later we'll join some new friends of ours to enjoy a gorgeous hike just outside of Phoenix.
Well, come on, let's
take a hike.
Thursday night at 7 on Arizona PBS.
Next time.
Something awful has happened to Marjorie Empson.
A woman is killed.
Multiple blows to the back of the skull by the look of it.
And suspicion falls on her club.
The Reading Club.
The Reading Club.
But it's actually a front for their real purpose.
The stock market.
What are the investments of the Reading Club worth?
About £150,000.
For Barnaby, the numbers don't add up.
We're missing something here, Troy.
Midsummer Murders.
Thursday night at 8 on Arizona PBS.
Arizona PBS has a growing digital footprint. If you're looking to stay connected to your favorite public media station, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe.
A new survey from AARP looks at what older voters say are the issues that will drive them to the voting booth next month. And older voters are an increasingly significant voting bloc in the U.S., he tried to say. Joining us now to discuss the results of the survey are Dana Marie Kennedy, Director of AARP Arizona. And also joining us is AARP's Executive Vice President, Nancy Lamond. Good to have you both here. Nancy, thank you so much for joining us. I want to start with you. This is a national poll. Did you break out the numbers? Did you only ask folks 50 plus? How did this work?
No, most of our polling, we poll everyone over the age of 18. And so in the course of this election season, we've done extensive polling in 7 battleground states. We've also done national polling called She's the Difference among women. So our polling has been fairly extensive, and we're pleased to be able to release the Arizona poll yesterday.
All right, I want to get to the Arizona poll in a second here, but again, Nancy, back to you. What was the question? Asking voters what their top issues were?
Yes, you pointed out that older voters are the largest voting bloc. There are 115 million Americans over the age of 50. One thing we know is older voters are more motivated to vote than younger voters. There's been an uptick in the number of younger voters who say they're going to go to the polls since Vice President Harris entered the race. But at the same time, there's been an uptick in the number of older voters who say they're going to go. And they have issues that probably come immediately to mind. They are very focused on the kitchen table economy. They are very focused on Social Security, and those would top the list, including concerns about, in day-to-day economics, prescription drugs, some home care expenses, health care expenses.
What did you see, Dana, as far as Arizona is concerned? Because I would imagine immigration and border security would be right up there as well.
It absolutely is. It is at the top of their list. But when you actually look at all the issues and you look at the economy, that's one of the other top issues. And specifically when you add the economy and Social Security together, that raises to the top of the list as well.
Inflation and rising prices?
Oh, absolutely. And we all see it every day. And, you know, they're not feeling really confident in the economy right now. And I think that's especially true with women voters. So they feel extremely insecure about where the economy is headed.
And as far as the national numbers here, Nancy, Dana mentioned Social Security and how that plays into economic concerns. I would imagine that would play a lot into those concerns.
Absolutely. We poll in every election cycle, and at the end of election season, we sit down and say, why did we invest so much energy to learn how important Social Security is? It's always at the top of the list. And it's Social Security now, and it's Social Security if we poll tomorrow. Dana had mentioned older women voters, and it's very interesting. For the first time in this election cycle, we've seen older women voters concerned about day-to-day economics, how they make ends meet every week. But equally important to them is longer-term retirement security. And so Social Security has played an even bigger role as we've talked to people during this particular election cycle.
In Arizona, Dana, threats to democracy, reproductive issues, these are big deals around here. It seems like, what about the 50-plus crowd?
I mean, they're definitely at the top of mind as well. For women voters, the economy, the border issues, as well as the abortion issue is on their list. But as Nancy mentioned, so is like healthcare is important, and Medicare, the cost of prescription drugs. And we're also looking at even caregiving and wanting candidates to talk about caregiving issues as well.
I was going to ask you, Dana, about that. Family caregiving, how to help cover costs. That's right up there, isn't it?
It really is, and they're actually motivated to vote for a candidate who is talking about that very issue. And when you break it out regarding the 65 plus as well as the 50 plus voters, and those 50 plus are really considered a swing voter.
Yes.
And they really want candidates to talk about Social Security as well as caregiving. And right now they're stuck in the middle. You know, they're trying to get their kids through college, and they're also wondering how to take care of their parents.
And Nancy, that rings true nationally as well, I would imagine?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's going to be very important, I think, in the next few weeks that the candidates really look towards older women voters, and top on that list is family caregiving. We're finding roughly on average 23 to 25% of women voters are caregivers, and they're dealing with these challenges every single day. Also in our polling, when you get below the top 2 or 3 issues, living independently in your home is another very, very high priority.
And Nancy, sticking with you, how does this particular demographic, how do they plan to vote? Are they going to go early? Are they going to go to the polls? How does that work?
Well, typically older voters vote early. They vote absentee ballot, or they vote early. Every state has different rules, but they have typically voted earlier than Election Day. And they do turn out, as I said.
Yes.
All of our polling shows, we ask your kind of intensity of interest in voting. It's between 87 and 97%. People are going to show up.
That's a strong voting bloc. And in Arizona, again, with all the election concerns and questions and such, are you seeing, Dana, anything different as far as how people plan to vote?
The majority are going to vote early.
Yes.
And the majority, 10 out of 10, if you ask them 10 out of 10 if they're going to vote, 93% are actually going to vote with enthusiasm. So they're really excited to go vote. And they're absolutely determined to vote.
And real quickly, before we go, what do we take from this? What do we take from the poll, Dana?
That candidates need to talk about senior issues, especially Social Security, as well as family caregiving. And they want to make sure that you're providing care to help keep them in their own homes so they can age in place.
And again, real quickly, Nancy, what do you take from it?
Well, candidates who ignore older women voters do so to their peril. We know that older voters tend to lean Republican, but they're not a monolith. Older men tend to lean much more Republican. Older women are more evenly divided, and we've seen a gender gap in most of the battleground states. And on the national level, in our She's the Difference poll, women over 50 favored Vice President Harris by 12 points, while men 50 plus favored former President Trump by the same margin, a 24-point, we call it gender chasm.
Yeah, that's a chasm, all right. Nancy Lamont, AARP, and Dana Marie Kennedy, AARP, Arizona. Good to have you both here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ted. Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much.
the U.S. Constitution established a federal democratic republic, which now consists of 50 sovereign states. It's called a representative democracy because people govern themselves and elect representation by voting. Technically, America is a multi-party system. It's just that America has pretty much always had two major parties. To understand why, we must first look at how the country's elections work. The U.S. system of representation is based on who wins the most votes in each district, not necessarily a majority of votes cast. In addition, each distinct area, whether congressional district, state, or, in the case of the presidency, the nation as a whole, is represented by a single member, rather than proportional representation based on the number of votes received. That winner-take-all approach has resulted in the dominance of two main parties.
A comprehensive survey by the Center for the Future of Arizona and the Gallup Organization has identified 7 shared public values that most affect Arizonans' everyday lives. That includes prison reform, which the survey shows most Arizonans support, especially reentry programs. Each year, more than 3,000 women are released from Perryville Prison, the only all-women's prison in the state. Producer Shauna Fisher and photographer Ron Bruce introduce us to a program that's providing a bridge to their success.
Family room temperature.
An afternoon spent playing games is not something these women ever thought was in the cards.
Cash, Johnny Cash, cash register.
Yes.
Each of them has spent time in prison.
I have been to Perryville Prison 3 times.
With help and hard work, Tisha Weir is determined to never go back.
I took the time to really work on myself and get to know who I was.
She started her path to a new life behind the prison walls.
I worked a corporate America job. I was taught sales, marketing, project management. I also had the ability to take college classes as well and received my associate's degree.
While incarcerated, Tisha was introduced to Deacon Gay Romack, the founder of Bridges Reentry.
Bridges Reentry is an organization that was really conceived to try to help women from Perryville as they re-enter society after they've been incarcerated.
Romack had been involved in prison ministry for quite a while when she had a conversation with an inmate who was about to be released.
She was so excited, and I was excited for her, and then I looked at her and I saw that she was petrified. And I said, "What's the matter?" And she said, "I don't know where I'm going." And I thought, this isn't right. This woman has spent her time, she's done everything right, she's in compliance with everything, and she didn't know where she was going to go. And what a frightening thing.
Created in 2019, Bridges Reentry is comprised of several programs that treat the whole woman, both during her incarceration and after. Programs like mentorship, pen pals, and release day pickup. After finding out 3,000 women are released from Perryville Prison each year with very few options for housing, Deacon Romack opened the doors to Magdalene House, a 2-year residential program.
The program is meant to be able to allow women to heal, and healing takes time. We do not charge rent. We do not charge utilities. So what we want them to do is to learn to be independent.
6 women live in this spacious home in Phoenix. They share bedrooms and living spaces, a kitchen, and a relaxing patio. It's here that Tisha and the other women plant roots, some for the first time.
This is a place where we get to come home at night and we get to be a part of each other's journey, and we get to be a part of each other's challenges and successes, and that's what a regular home is like. I've never looked at it as a recovery place or, you know, a halfway house, because that's not how we're treated. We're treated with family and support and love and kindness.
And while there is a lot of laughter and joy, there's also work to be done.
In the first 30 days, a lot of different things happen. We do require that they have a job in the 4th month.
The women also go through substance abuse counseling as well as receiving mental health help, and they must volunteer with a charity.
We encourage them to participate in all kinds of different resources that are available to them.
And because financial stability is a cornerstone to success, the women learn financial literacy, from how to budget, to saving money, to buying a car.
Yeah, that's a great idea to save money for a down payment. That would have been my first choice too.
Absolutely.
Another big component to success is Bridges Reentry's partnership with an online college. Tisha is about to start her bachelor's program.
I've always known that I was meant for so much more, but really just didn't know how to get there. You know, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for Bridges Reentry.
The women are encouraged to stay at the home for the full 2 years.
The fact that they can stay here for that length of time and not be stressed economically is a huge benefit to them. When they don't have that, you can look at the recidivism rate in this state, in this country. That will tell you what happens to them. They go back.
According to statistics from the Arizona Department of Corrections, Arizona has one of the highest recidivism rates in the country, 36%. And the biggest driving factor for recidivism is poverty. But studies show that providing newly released women with housing or job assistance reduces their odds of recidivism by 83%. Tisha has just 6 months left at Magdalen House and says despite what she's done in her past, she now feels she has a future.
I love who I am today. I don't allow the decisions that I've made in my past to define who I am today, because everyone's got skeletons in their closet, you know, and I'm the person that's going to use those skeletons to help the next person.
We should report that Bridges reports that they have a 0% recidivism rate. To learn more about Bridges Reentry, you can go to their webpage. Address is right there on the screen. That's it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thanks for joining us. You have a great evening.
Support for Arizona PBS comes from viewers like you and from
Hospice of the Valley, medical, social, and spiritual care for patients nearing end of life, and support for their families. A not-for-profit community hospice. HOV.org.
Hi, I'm Catherine Anaya, host of Horizonte. Have you signed up for the Arizona PBS Conexión e-newsletter? Visit azpbs.org/Conexión to subscribe to the monthly resource created to serve Arizona's vibrant Hispanic community. Conexión highlights Latino-focused Arizona PBS programming and features learning resources for kids, details on upcoming events, important headlines, and a brief column from yours truly.
On Agatha Christie's Poirot. In a Buenos Aires restaurant, Poirot is unable to solve a murder.
Hercule Poirot, deported like a common criminal?